this is a really specific message, okay? Somebody is uncovering their purpose, right? Their divine purpose. They're understanding the it's kind of like each cycle in their kind of journey so far has had a purpose of its own, and it all ultimately leads to, you know, your purpose after your incarnation, right? So the divine purpose is kind of making more sense to them now. It's becoming more clearer. It was really foggy before, and it's because they've been doing the healing, right? They've been doing the healing where it's kind of like they've not detached, it's really healthily been clearing through any attachments that they've had, like on external parties, whether it's people or things that they've been waiting to validate them or to give them some kind of answers to, okay? With the 10 of Wands here, this is confirmation that there's something that they've, it's like some kind of heavy cycle that they've cleared through, or they're just in the remnants of kind of clearing through, okay? So, and in doing so, they're understanding that everything that they've been through served, the purpose of everything that they've been through, right, was to add to the purpose that they are ultimately unfolding now. It's something, I'm hearing divine destiny, okay? So it's kind of something that's really, 9 of Wands. This has not been an easy journey whatsoever. Someone's had so much, I'm hearing like so much opposition, so much against them, you know, obstacles, temptations, so many kind of layers of themselves that they've had to really overcome to get to this stage. Now they're really understanding that actually the more that they're getting to the stage where they're going to be able to step back a bit more and see things from a wider perspective, which will help them to recognize how everything they've been through is actually to help them be the person they need to be to where they're going, if that makes sense. So it's a really beautiful realization. Yeah, Page of Pentacles, so they can finally kind of plant that. I think they've been planting the seed, but they can finally understand that all along it's them and who they've evolved to be. That's the seed itself, okay, if that makes sense. 2 of Pentacles, yeah, there's been a lot of kind of, it's kind of like I'm hearing this energy of kind of wanting to just completely forget about or completely remove, you know, the past or whatever it is. So it's just not there anymore, so it's not on their mind, you know. So I think there's this energy of really wanting to close out this chapter, but it's been taking a while, and someone's really been I think that they've been kind of taking actions that they feel are more aligned with who they're becoming and where they want to be, right? But at the same time, there's some of this that was still kind of versions of themselves from the past. So they're kind of trying to, I hope this makes sense, Strength card at the bottom of the deck, they're trying to understand who they are now and how to make better decisions. I'm hearing the word healthier specifically, so it could be to do with kind of addictions or even health things, okay? 3 of Swords, yeah, this is a heavy cycle that they're closing out now. It's kind of, they were operating from this broken heart, the Death card. They could very well have experienced, you know, grief in terms of passings and things like that, you know, and they're trying to understand. It's like, it's almost like some kind of, you know, when you have that kind of, I can't think of the word, but it's like they've gone really deep within themselves, you know, and really asked themselves the kind of the answers, like what are the answers to their existence kind of thing. Like it's been really profound for them, this energy, this journey, but there's a reason for this and they're understanding that more, okay? The Hierophant, the Lovers, you know, this is definitely giving the energy of, I'm hearing soul mission. It's like they've been specifically assigned something on a much higher level here. And it's going to require them to access their heart. And the heart chakra, the Anahata chakra, was coming through a lot for this reading, okay? So there is definitely something about they've been clearing through their heart space. I'm seeing almost like blockages being removed. Yeah, that takes a lot of intentional internal work. So they've been going in, truly. Okay, so it feels like they've been having kind of like existential crises, you know, multiple like existential crises. Anyway, that's just come through. That was the term I was trying to think of earlier. 5 of Pentacles, 4 of Pentacles, yeah. Wow. And then the 10. So everything that they've lost, because they've lost some things, even people, and they've felt the loss of it specifically. But more than anything, it's kind of like, it's like they've just constantly had the mirror on themselves. They've always been focus on their pain, their loss, their hurts, you know what I mean? So it's kind of like for them, this was just like, oh, they feel abandoned now, they feel alone now, you know, but they're also understanding. I think that they've been a bit, I will say, they've had a bit of an ego that they've been driven on, right? It's kind of like focus on their pain. But I think that's because when they were a child, they went through some things, you know, really traumatic things, and they didn't have anyone there for them. So it was always like they had to be focused on them. Does that make sense? And this is, I think, why they've searched for that external validation, and now this is kind of what they're understanding. It's like they've been waiting for it. You don't wait for anything, especially on a divine journey. You're not here to wait for anyone or anything. You're truly here. You have to go through the layers of whatever it is that's keeping you in that kind of phase. Like if it's an attachment, on something unhealthy within you that needs to be cleared through, you have to go through those feelings and clear through it, right? But ultimately, you're not here to wait for anyone or anything. You're here to become you. You're here to serve a divine purpose that is much more profound than what you're taught in society, being, in a relationship, having a house, having a dog, having a cat, which works for some people, yes, but when you're on a divine journey, that's not your purpose. So your purpose is much more profound than that, okay? Though you might have those things. Does that make sense? Tower. Someone's really experienced. 10 of Wands, 3 of Swords, Tower. This is dark. I'm feeling kind of that really, painful kind of energy. It's all the grief that was stored up within them, 4 of Wands. All the grief that was preventing them from really aligning with themselves and finding that alignment outside of them that was divinely aligned, right? Not just forced for ego's sake or forced for the sake of what they were told they need to do and need to be. If that makes sense. Again, specific message, okay? So 9 of Pentacles, they're finally detaching. They're finally freeing themselves from this. The Chariot. Forward movement. They're getting ready to make a decision. Now this is where they're umming and ahhing a bit. They don't want to feel those feelings again that they felt in the past. But at the end of the day, at this stage, if you're entering that divine self, you have to be at a stage where you're so focused on where you're headed that no one and nothing can pull you down. And if it does, you have the right tools and you have the right strength here in place. Right, you recognize that what you have come through and been through, so you can handle what comes next. For everything happens for a reason. It all unfolds for you to become who you're supposed to be, right? And the sooner you recognize that, the more that you can really operate in a way where you're honoring your divinity, you're honoring your higher level purpose. If that makes sense. Something about this Strength card, I think somebody doesn't recognize. That it's almost like accessing that divine self really does mean you seeing all of what you have gone through, without kind of wanting to just forget about it, but actually looking at it and saying, those are the fires that you fought. Those are the fires that you rose through. They said, did they burn you to ashes? Yes, they've burnt past versions of you to ashes, past cycles of you to ashes, so that you could rise again, right? Resurrection of self, because you're more in that more awakened self. There's been intentional healing. You've done this. You've been through. I'm hearing specifically Helen back here, so this is I think someone's been through that, but they're still carrying the weight of it. That's what it is. King of Wands. Fire sign energies, Justice card at the bottom of the deck. Then I've heard they're about to get the Justice, but I also feel like it's in their hands to get that. This King of Wands, he's action oriented, he's a leader, he's a go-getter, he knows what he wants. But for too long, he's been very stuck. It's 4 of Pentacles, 7 of Pentacles, very stuck in this kind of, he has not reached his full potential whatsoever, this King. So much to give, so much to offer, but it's been truly been stuck in that past version of self, right? So I think someone's finally realizing this and they're understanding kind of more of their potential, but they can only truly embody and allow that potential to come through once they take that action and make that decision to take that action. Queen of Pentacles, Earth sign, 9 of Cups. Oh, okay, so whatever happened in the past, the heaviness that we're still carrying, that was still burying the heartbreak beneath the surface, that needed to kind of have that tower moment, that realization, so I could finally be removed, is finally turning into somebody realizing and recognize what they truly desire from their heart space, okay? This Queen of Pentacles has got very healing energy, okay? Very healing energy, very abundant too. Page of Swords. Someone's really understanding their new perspectives here and how they want their new life to go. So now that they've detached from all these external energies that no longer have a pull on them when they get into that stage, they're kind of at that stage where they're seeing things much more clearly. Queen of Cups too, to a point where their new perspective is going to allow them to drive forwards on their soul purpose and to take those kind of, those steps that are needed, yeah? Even if it's bit by bit. Lovers again at the bottom of the deck, and then the 4 of Wands. This is giving union vibes, I will say. It's definitely inner union taking place. Someone's really realizing part of their purpose is there's this kind of giving nature that they have, but it's not about that giving nature being taken advantage of anymore. It's about it being given to those who are in need, to the people they are here to serve, if that makes sense, right? The Strength card does want to come out. The 8 of Wands. There's forward movement happening here. There might even be some kind of communication taking place, okay? And that Strength card and the King of Wands, definitely giving heavy fire sign energy, okay? I think someone's gathering the strength is what I'm hearing. Don't let the past hold you back. So whatever's happened in the past, that has been, again, that's giving that heart chakra energy with that green, right? It's giving that kind of, there's been a lot of patience with self and patience with the process, right? I think there's something, I think in order for somebody to really embody that divine purpose, I don't think they fully know what it is yet, but they're being, it's like they're clearing, there's been an internal clearing taking place. Your hard work is paying off. So someone has been, confidence the key to success, right? Someone has really been intentional here. So this is for somebody who's been, it's kind of like they're being very, what's the word? It's kind of like they're being very specific, very particular with the versions of themselves that they're healing through and clearing through. It's important to remember that other people outside of you are not you, right? So you can't expect the same from others, but everyone's going through their own healing cycles in their own way, okay? So if this does involve someone or other people, it's kind of like allowing yourself to recognize there's going to be an alignment that needs to take place, and that's sometimes intentional. It's not just think, okay, a new romantic cycle begins. And that's the alignment that you're going to be very intentional on working with. So whatever this purpose is, it has something to do with this connection, which makes sense, divine connection. But the more you're focusing on you, which you have been, the more you can really come into that alignment from a more divine self, a divine space, right? Prosperity lies ahead, and that's coming out for me with that kind of that Queen of Pentacles and Ten of Pentacles energy. Definitely this healing, abundant kind of flow taking place right now. Okay, so this could be to do with something that you're working on, a project, or even just whatever this is that's unfolding. A personal issue reaches resolution. So there's something, I feel like there's something that's been hanging in the balance, if you will. There's been, I'm seeing something about a communication, like a conversation that needs to be had as well in order to clear through whatever this is. But again, someone needs to kind of overcome whatever it is that it's like they've held back, they've stopped themselves every time they've wanted to move forwards or been even divinely guided to move forwards towards this alignment. They've stopped themselves. Confidence is your key to success. Double confirmation, okay? Yeah, and that's what it is. It's everything. It's like they've internalized so much, but it's kind of understanding that all those versions of you, you're not that anymore. You're not that inner child anymore. You're not that past version of you, even from a couple of years ago, last month, whatever it is. Work through your fears, okay? And this is what they're being guided to do right now. I think that they're much better at it than they were. That's what I'm getting here. There's this beautiful, abundant feminine energy here. You've got a very loving, nurturing, compassionate energy, very emotionally intelligent, and very much will not take anything less than what she's worthy of, right? That tolerating. So it's not just like waiting around and then just allowing people to treat you any less than you deserve, right? Adjustments are required. I think adjustments have been taking place, but now for this alignment to come in order for that next level of the divine purpose to unfold, there's going to be something else happening, okay? It's time to release negativity. I think this is what's holding kind of whoever this is what's holding them back. It's kind of like this internal state of mind, right? But I don't even think that's what it is. I think it's just who they've allowed themselves to become. Even the environment might still kind of reflect this past version of them, right? And that's the change that's taking place. A prayer will help this situation, especially with those fears. Okay, there's something about that that's really important. I think somebody could have turned to maybe religion or just some kind of form of understanding worship in a new way, right? And eternal love. I think this is also why they're understanding whatever this connection is in a more, that is heavily present in part of their divine purpose here, right? They're understanding the levels of that eternal love, whereas before they might have heard been more into allowing more surface level connections, if you will, just those kind of connections that weren't kind of allowing them to go into the depths of themselves, which is what, that true divine love needs you to go into the depths of yourself, to face your shadow, so you can truly bring in your divine light, okay? And no longer allow yourself to be treated any less than, right? Self-respect. Understand, the more that they've understood their self-respect, the more they're understanding how to respect others outside of them, okay? Your inner guidance is real and trustworthy, and that I think has something massively to do with this individual's purpose. They're understanding that they have it's kind of like they've got more of a gift that they haven't really allowed themselves to evolve into, and this is what they're understanding. I think there's something about feeling safe that's really important in this energy. Someone needs to feel safe, and I think more than anything right now, more than finding the alignment within them or outside of them, whatever, they're really focused on courage. They're really focused on strength, which tells me that they've had a really big ego in the past, and that's what's been massively, like, that tower had happened to. That's why they've truly felt that heartbreak, the pain, whatever. They thought they were their wishes come true, but actually it was just their ego trying to just, create the castles in the sky, if you will, to avoid the pain beneath the surface. And that's what had to come crashing down for them to finally get to this stage. And now they're being guided to believe and trust this path, to believe and trust their guidance, and also their inner guidance. They could be getting specific, like, divine guidance right now, whether it's dreams or whatever it is, or even just like really prominent signs and symbols, okay, guarded and protected, okay. So that safety that then they're asking for is it's going to come from A, within, and also B, from divine. So it's kind of like, it's not about expecting an external, individual, personal things or whatever to help them feel better. It's about really going within now and recognizing that actually this is something they need to cultivate within themselves. You have to, forgiving and learning. Someone's going to need to be forgiven here. It could be a two-way thing. It's going to be there's going to feel like this need to I've heard something about owning up to something, and maybe it's to do with somebody that was hiding their true feelings, okay. There's chemistry card here as well, so I do feel like these whatever someone's moving towards, they're being really it's almost like I'm feeling like these poles are these threads are pulling them in, right? So it's like, it's almost like they can't deny like the spark of these threads that are pulling them in this direction. But it does mean that as you release the heal the past, you experience more love in your present moment. So to become present, you're going to need to forgive the past. And this is something I think someone's really held up on, really hung up on, if you will, the past, whatever happened in the past. Keep an open mind, right? So things that are happening in unusual ways, unusual people around you, that's actually allowing you to recognize your divine purpose, because I feel like someone's been in some kind of shell that they created, that ego created for them to feel safe. Codependency, there's been attachments, that these addictions have allowed them to have this false sense of security, safe for you to love. They need to feel that safety, and as a result they've had to control everything around them. And now this is what they've been releasing your ex. They could be releasing someone right now very well, or even it's just the energy, the deception of the past that they experienced, that still they were lingering around and preventing them from really learning how to love themselves first, right? Which is why when you learn to love yourself first, that's when you truly allow yourself to receive what you deserve, because you respect yourself. You accept nothing less. Children, so it could be from a very inner child, that inner child trauma did come up earlier. The more you respect yourself, the less that you'll tolerate having anyone or anything around you. It's not about blocking yourself off or getting guarded. It's about really honouring your divine self, seeing yourself through the eyes of divine. It's so important here, worth waiting for. Divine timing has been at play here. I did say something about hanging in the balance, so it feels like there's something that's been a while. Maybe it's this final, like, this cycle, this layer that's being released, so you can finally understand true love, divine. This could be, it does feel like a divine connection is involved here, but someone definitely is on that divine journey here, okay. So whatever that is that they're waiting for, and they either think that it's not real or whatever it is, they need to really I feel like there's this energy of really sitting with oneself, okay, being present in the moment, learning that everything that they love about themselves as well, from the heart space, not the ego, from the soul. There's a difference now. I think this is somebody who's really understood this. Deception, engagement at the bottom of the deck. There's definitely something that needs to be revealed, okay? But the more it's revealed, the more you respect yourself and hold yourself in integrity, the more you're going to be seen in that way as well, okay? And not let the past hold you back, but focus on moving forwards and evolving into that beautiful divine self, ready for this divine purpose that is truly unfolding right now, okay? Let me know if this reading is for you. Sending so much love.